What is up, guys? Ricardo here, Ricky, Rick, whatever you wanna call me, from Paz and Pals, and today we're going over the UEFA Champions League round of 16, first leg, knockout stages. So, if you don't know what that is, it's soccer, the biggest European competition in all of Europe, and yeah, so there were the whole group stages, um, teams from all over Europe. Literally the best of the best. Um, and so there's 16 teams remaining. Hence why it's called, round of 16. Um, so yeah, there are 4 games this week. 4 of those round of 16 games. There are 4 next week. They're all the first leg. There are 2 legs played up until the final. The final is just 1 leg, which is a unique thing about the Champions League itself, and the competition. Um, so just get into that, I guess. Just get into the first game, which is set for, well, tomorrow, but when this comes out, it'll be the actual day, Tuesday, February 16th. And the first game, just gonna preview, is RB Leipzig, the German team from the Bundesliga, versus Liverpool from England, the Premier League, one of the biggest teams in all of Europe. And so, let's see, this leg will be played in Budapest due to Germany's COVID-19 travel restrictions, and rumor has it that when they play in Liverpool, that game might actually have to be moved to a neutral site as well. So, we'll keep you posted on that at some point. So I guess I'll just start off with Leipzig from Germany. So let's see, their last game that they've lost was on January 23rd. So they've won 4 straight games since then. They're really in pretty good form. So really, this team absolutely stands a chance against Liverpool. We'll get to Liverpool in a bit. They've lost only 2 games in this year's competition, against PSG and Manchester United. One where they lost 5-0 to Man United. The other, I believe, was 2-1 loss to PSG. But those were away from home, so that might have played a factor, the travel and all that. They were second in the group behind PSG. They both had 12 points, but because of goal difference, PSG was in first. They qualified over Manchester United, which is, no easy feat, because Manchester United has always been known as one of the biggest teams in all of Europe for decades now. This is an interesting fact too. They're unbeaten in their last 6 home games. So obviously this isn't going to be a home game necessarily because it's at a neutral site, but still, that's a big thing for really any team. It might not be as much of a factor in this one, whereas, if it had been played in Germany, but still, just knowing that, that they're technically the home team might give them a little boost, I guess, more confidence. So we'll get into Liverpool now. Not exactly in the greatest form. They're on a 3-game losing streak, conceding 8 goals and scoring 2, which is absolutely horrendous for a team like them, who's really known for scoring a ton of goals, really playing the game beautifully, according to many, under one of the best managers in the world, Jurgen Klopp. It's just been, I don't know, the start of this new year has been poor for Liverpool. Sure, injuries have definitely played a huge role. They lost Van Dijk for maybe the entire rest of the season back a couple months ago. Fabinho, their center defensive mid, who can also play center back, may also be out. I believe he missed training actually yesterday and today. They've lost so many key players to injury, so it's unfortunate to see that they're not at full strength. They signed 2 center backs. One of them from Schalke, I believe, was Kabak. made his debut when they lost to Leicester City 3-1, an absolute collapse. And, it's really hard in any sport really to overcome injuries. And I don't know, that I believe that'll play a huge role because a lot of the players um, that are out were in the team that won the Champions League back 2 years ago, 2 seasons ago, and so that lack of experience might also play a factor in this game. And so just for the pick, I went with Leipzig 2-1. I wouldn't be surprised if Leipzig kept a clean sheet, but I don't really see how Liverpool will win this game. Sure, Jurgen Klopp, um, like I said, one of the best managers in the world. Leipzig are just in much better form right now. Liverpool struggling on that 3-game skid. And, I mean, at some point it has to give, sure, but when you're playing in the biggest competition in Europe, I don't think, like, even if you might have won the Champions League, 2 years ago, it's still a different year now. And, I mean, Leipzig just have shown that they can compete with the best. So, that's why I'm going with them, 2-1, Leipzig. Now, on to game number 2. Probably the juiciest matchup or at least this week. Barcelona versus PSG. Barcelona, of course, from Spain, La Liga Santander. PSG from France, Ligue 1. And this game is set to be played at Camp Nou, so in Barca's stadium. Barcelona, interesting facts, have beaten PSG in last 4 of 5 encounters, including the 6-1 unbelievable comeback against PSG. I mean, the most improbable comeback we've ever seen in this competition and in the sport of soccer in general. So, I mean, Barcelona just had their number in recent years. And, so, I mean, in their current form, they've won their last 4 out of 5 games. They lost to Sevilla 2-0. I believe that's 2 games ago. In that span, they've scored 15 goals and conceded 7. In those 4 wins. In the 4 wins they've had, they've scored 15 and conceded 7. So, while they've been scoring a lot of goals, averaging, over 2 goals per game, 3 goals per game, they still have conceded quite a bit, so I wouldn't be surprised if PSG were to find a goal in this game. They do have a couple injuries. Gerard Piqué, their center back, long-time center back, may or may not play. He was training today and I believe yesterday as well, but the decision will be made tomorrow whether or not he's fit enough to play. But that would be a huge boost to that defense to really stop PSG's high-powered attack. And then moving on to PSG, they've won their last 4 games. Their last loss was on January 31st versus Lorient. I believe that team was in the bottom 3 in the relegation zone in the league. And in the span where they've won, they've scored 8 goals and only conceded 1 goal. So that's very impressive. And if they continue that form, this game could be, a very low-scoring game, really. However, they have some major injuries, including one recently to Neymar. That was definitely the biggest one in his return to Barcelona, but he will not be playing and may not even play in the second leg, which is truly unfortunate, to say the least. So, I mean, he's just such a huge part of that attacking front 3. They've also lost Di Maria, who might not play, Verratti, their center midfielder. He's been out for a while now. And so I just think that these injuries are definitely more detrimental to them as opposed to the injuries to players that Barcelona have. And, I mean, they still have Kylian Mbappe and, a couple other key players. But it's hard for me to see PSG come away with the win in this one. If anything, I think they would come out with a draw. But I actually have Barcelona winning this game 2-1. I think Mbappe will score that one crucial away goal that may serve him some good in the second leg. But I really just don't see PSG coming out with a win. I mean, maybe they'll prove me wrong. I don't know. But Barcelona just seem to be in better form, in better shape. So, yeah, I'm going with Barca. Now on to the third game, which is actually set to be played on Wednesday, February 17th. Porto versus Juventus. There's really not much history between these two teams. But interestingly enough, Porto have not conceded a single home goal in the Champions League within, this competition, I should say. 3 home games, they have not conceded a single goal. It's impressive. However, the recent form, they've drawn their last 3 games. So they're second in the Portuguese league. But they do have some solid players like Jesus Corona, Marega, the striker, Pepe, with tons of experience. He used to play at Real Madrid, who won the Champions League, so he knows what it takes to win. I mean, they have Felipe Anderson, some quality players. It's just their form hasn't really been there as of late. Moving on to Juventus, they lost their last game 1-0 to Napoli in the Serie A, in the Italian league. But, I mean, they've faced such a brutal run, really. They faced top 6 teams from the Serie A in each of the last 4 games. See, Napoli, I believe they're in 6th now. Inter, twice, actually. One was in the domestic competition at the Coppa Italia. And Roma. And so, that's just a brutal stretch of games, really. So, it's not really surprising to me to see that they ended up dropping points against Napoli. But they're mostly healthy, apart from like Paulo Dybala, their playmaker on the attacking side of the ball. They boast plenty of experience too. I mean, they have Cristiano Ronaldo, arguably the best player of all time. I know people are going to say Messi is better, but there's always that debate, really. So, I mean, he could be a difference. I mean, there are a lot of players. They have Chiesa. They have tons of experience, like with Chiellini. Let's see who else they have. I mean, just all around, really, they're like a pretty balanced team. So, I actually picked Juventus winning this 2-0 away from home in Portugal. So, I really don't think... I think Porto will make it close. It's just, I don't know if they'll be able to capitalize on their opportunities like Juventus will. I think they will. Plus, their manager is Andrea Pirlo, and he played for Juventus for years and years and years, and he's been in the Champions League so many times. So he knows what it takes, really, to play in this such a big game, knockout stages, win or go home. So I think I think this team, really, Juventus, will prevail in the end. Of course, there's the second leg, but I won't get into that yet because it's still too soon. It's like 2 or 3 weeks out. But I'm taking Juventus in this one. Finally, one of the most intriguing matchups, I think. Actually a bit surprising. So game number 4 also be played on Wednesday. Sevilla from Spain, La Liga versus Dortmund from Germany, the Bundesliga. And I'll just start with Sevilla, really. They have won their last 9 games and have only conceded 1 goal in that span. Now that is absolutely absurd. That's literally unheard of. I just don't, it's not like they're playing poor quality teams either. It's like teams in their same division or in the same league. And the fact that they've only conceded 1 goal in that span. And this one's even more intriguing, really. I mean, they've gone 7 straight games without conceding a single goal. I don't know what Lopetegui... I mean, whatever he's doing, their manager, is clearly working. It's just impressive. And, they don't really have too many high-profile players. They have Papu Gomez, who recently signed from Atalanta from the Italian league. They have players like City, their top goal scorer, one of their best players this season. And I mean Lucas Ocampos, but I don't think he's going to be playing. So it's just amazing to see. They have one of the youngest prospect, one of the best prospects, Jules Koundé at center back. So he's played a huge part in, and really that defensive. I mean, how impressive their defense has been playing. So yeah, I don't know how Dortmund's going to get past them, and they're also healthier than Dortmund is. Dortmund has suffered so many injuries throughout the season, and including players like Roman Berkey, their starting goalkeeper, Thomas Munir, their right back slash wing back, Axel Witsel, a huge player, huge part of that midfield anchoring between the lines, between the midfield and the center backs, really holding that defense and really balancing out the game for them. And they've also, I mean, those injuries I think will pile up. And they've also been wildly inconsistent, only winning 2 out of the 5 of their last games, so 2 straight winless games as well. Not in great form. I mean, sure, they still have players like Erling Haaland, Jadon Sancho, Giovanni Reina, the American international, etc. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if this ended in a draw, but because I think the injuries will add up, I think Sevilla will win this 2-1. It won't be comfortable, definitely, and I mean at some point, you know, this 7-game streak of clean sheets has to come to an end, and it makes sense to me, like seeing Erling Haaland or Jadon Sancho scoring that one key away goal that may serve him some good in the second leg. So, yeah, I mean, just a rundown again of who I picked. Leipzig 2-1 over Liverpool. Barcelona 2-1 over PSG. Juventus 2-0 over Porto. And Sevilla 2-1 over Dortmund. So, yeah, I'll do another one of these videos next week with the other 4 games that come up. I mean, this is one of the greatest competitions, if not the greatest domestic competitions in all of Europe. No, it definitely is the greatest. So, yeah, I mean, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I guess with that, really, just subscribe if you're new around here, like if you want, comment, follow us on our social media stuff, links in the description and stuff like that. So, with that, it should be coming out Tuesday, February 16th, so be on the lookout. I'll definitely post it on the Instagram. So, until then, I will see you all soon.